There's some plot twists. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. If you were to describe season 2 of Sweet Magnolias, how would you describe it?
Intense. I think that it is just, pedal to the metal. So many huge reveals and huge life moments. And it really gets in deep. I mean, on all levels, it's just really intense. There were times where I was like, wow. Whew. Just even shooting it, I was like, this is a lot.
Oh, goodness. Season 2 is so much fun. It's so much fun. I actually have been really excited for people to see this for quite some time, and I just think people are going to love it. And you get so much deeper into things and so much happens and everyone's storyline just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then there's all these cliffhangers at the end of season 2. So I'm very, very, very excited for it to come out. And I'm trying to think well, we know that Ronnie, Dana Sue's husband, is back in town, and that's a whole thing. And she's also dating Jeremy the farmer, so that's a whole thing. So we have those little fun things. And Dana Sue has lots of lovely men around her this season.
Oh, goodness. I think a lot of questions are answered. Things that were left open from season 1. Are answered here in season 2. But the funny part about it is that some of those questions that everybody were, they were dying to know, I feel as though those are kind of almost trivial. Yes. In comparison to what they started. You're like, oh, well, I want to know, for instance, who's in the car? And I'm like, yeah, you'll find out who's in the car. And that's, by itself some drama. However, there's a lot more drama coming down. So I think they will be satisfied and they'll be happy. It's been a while since, of course we had to wait for a little bit, but I think they will be happy with it. It.
You're so right. I think by episode 3, I'm like, doesn't matter who's in the car anymore. I'm like, there's so much other things that I need to worry about now.
I have other questions. I don't care who's in the car.
What scene or what episode are you most looking forward for the fans to see? Because that, because everybody obviously was that cliffhanger from season 1, and I know things clear up right away. So are you kind of hoping to put that to rest as well?
Because there's a whole new set of situations. Right. I think that 9 and 10, and not just because I'm a finale and you lead up to it, but 9 is a jaw drop moment, and then 10 is what? What's gonna happen?
Is that was that your reaction when you were at the table read and kind of saw the script for the first time? You're like, where is this going? Oh my God.
Yeah, there was a couple of things that I had actually somehow become privy to prior to when I should have become privy to it. And I for sure held it over so many people's heads. I would just sit there and listen to the theories of our cast members. Yeah. And it was really fun. So I can only imagine how it's going to feel for our viewers. But yeah, there's a lot of there's some plot twists. I'm not going to lie.
Absolutely. When I was reading the scripts and there are certain things that are revealed and then there are certain things that are cliffhanger, I was like, are you kidding me? I was just as wrapped up in it. And because, Cheryl Anderson, the showrunner, she does not tell us a lot of stuff. We did not know who was in that car until I read the first episode of season 2. So there's so much we don't know. There's so many revealings for us too. And so, I was absolutely are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Reading it. And then I was left with cliffhangers. I was like, oh my God. I was really in it with everybody else. So I hope everyone else will be in it just as much. Totally. I can't imagine they wouldn't. It's so good.
She kind of opens herself up to Eric this season, and they start having this beautiful romance, and then Ryan comes back and kind of blows everything up. Were you shocked when you read that in the script for the first time?
It's so funny because Cheryl Anderson, who writes most of it, she's our showrunner and kind of, she's the arms around everything, right? But Cheryl doesn't tell us anything. So we get 2 episodes, and then so you really have no idea what the end thing is, you know. So you're just kind of going through, oh, I'm in love with Eric. Okay, great. And then, but she had kind of mentioned, I was like, so Ryan's just not coming back, like, you know, like, because I try to talk to her and try to glean some things to know how to, you know, play things. I was like, so, and she's like, oh, he'll return. And then she'd leave me. And I'm like, is he going to return next week? Or is he coming next week? Like, when is he coming back? Mm-hmm. And then I remember us going. And then I remember she's like, he'll come back at the end. He's coming back at the end, and he's getting ready to blow everything up. He's getting ready to set a nuclear bomb off here. And so when I read it, I was like, oh yes. But you know, there's so many people, Christina, who are kind of their team Eric or their team Ryan. And so I can hear people screaming right now and yelling, including my mother, just like, oh no! Or oh yes, or whatever it's gonna be. So but yeah, he does come in and just set everything on fire.
What can you kind of tease about Maddie's relationship with Bill this season? You know, she tells him in the first episode, you know, this relationship is done. There's there's never a chance for that. How does that kind of change throughout this season, if it does at all?
It does. Mm-hmm. It definitely does. I mean, without, you know, going into too much detail, because I think there is a really big moment for Bill and Maddie in season 2 that I wouldn't ever want to spoil, but it does sort of bring that moment of just, I mean, I think that she has really made her decision and put it to rest. But I think that this season in particular, there is no turning back. And I think that I actually really think it offers, you know, an opportunity for Bill to kind of explore, like, you know, go find yourself, Bill, like turn this around, turn this ship around, Bill. Because if there was that nagging sort of like, if possible, forgiveness, I don't think it would lend itself to that growth.
Right. Yeah.
And I think it just is important for Maddie too, to just, you know, this is not happening anymore.
And how does Maddie develop as a, what's that say? Sorry, say it again.
It's important for Cal and Maddie too.
Yeah. And obviously we see that relationship develop over the course of the season as well.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
That's like such a bright spot for the show for me, working with Justin, and I just adore him, and I love the relationship that they have.
And then, you know, another big bombshell towards the end of the season is finding out that Bill is the father of Isaac. That was another, we didn't see that one coming. How is that going to kind of, or how do you feel like that's going to change Maddie's relationship with Bill even more? Or is she just like completely like, Bill, you got to go?
I think at this point, as you well know, as watching it, she hates him. You know, I'm going to say this to you, Christina. I feel a little bad for him. You know, there's a part of me that feels, because this is something he did, you know, back in, he's young and didn't know, and nobody ever told him, you know, and he's as much of you know, just in shock about it, but he's kind of hurt people along the way, and so everybody's just angry with him. You know, and it's more, I don't know. Maddie does have this hunk of a man on the other side, you know, kind of waiting for her, and I just think she's so angry with Bill about this that I just don't know how she comes back from it. But I wouldn't doubt if Bill starts to try to make amends around town and try to fix a few things that he's messed up, you know, which I think is where he's heading, to just be like, I have a mea culpa, and I need to start cleaning up some of the mess I made, you know, so it will be interesting. But Helen's ready to sue him whenever.
Were you just as surprised when you read about who Isaac's father is?
Yes, I was like, are you kidding me? Because I thought it was somebody else. And then to find out who it was, I was shocked.
I mean, do you think that that's going to take on a bigger role? I'm sure, you know, because it ends off on so many cliffhangers. I'm sure there's going to be a season 3. Would you like to see that? Would you like to see that kind of storyline continue? And how do you think that's going to change Bill and Maddie's relationship even further?
Yeah, I would like to see it continue. And oh God, right? Like it's just another nail in that coffin for him.
Yep.
Like I'm just like, and yet like ultimately it's not like he purposely did, you know what I mean? Like he didn't do anything purposely wrong, but it's just like, oh good Lord, this guy. So yeah, I'll be curious to see what happens with that and what they're gonna do with that.
Yeah.